Hey everybody, welcome back to Whiskey Wednesday. We're Freedom and Whiskey Equine Rescue here in Virginia, and this is episode number 4, which is really exciting. This is going really well, and as you know, we're going to start off the episode with what whiskey we're drinking tonight. So I'll go first here. I'm going to drink Angel's Envy. This is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. This is finished in port wine barrels and really smooth, just a really great flavor. I love this stuff. Really unique bottle. And as you can see, we're going to probably come close to killing another bottle tonight. So that's awesome.
And I am drinking also another Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. This is Buffalo Trace. This is a favorite in our house as well. And I really like this taste. I'm not going to drain this. This is just a little too much for me tonight. But yeah.
All right. Cheers to episode number 4.
Yeah, cheers.
And why don't you take a sip there and then tell everybody what our topic is tonight.
So our topic tonight is something that a lot of rescues right now in Virginia in particular are dealing with, and that is owner surrender. So if you're not familiar, owner surrender is when an owner of a horse, for whatever reason, maybe it's financial reasons or maybe their health or something, is no longer able to take care of their horses, they will sign ownership of their horses over to a rescue or sanctuary. And unfortunately, Virginia is dealing with a crisis right now. A lot of rescues and sanctuaries have been dealing with high numbers of owner surrenders right now because of the economy, because of a lot of people being out of work right now. They are no longer able to keep their horses. And that has put a lot of strain on rescues in our area. Most rescues are at capacity right now. We are struggling to find ways to help owners, and it's a problem. So that's one of the things that we wanted to talk about tonight.
Yeah, I think this is a really important issue. I think this is probably going to get worse before it gets better, personally. I don't think the economy is through settling everywhere. I mean, I know, house foreclosures, car foreclosures, and repossessions. These things are all kind of in record numbers, credit card debts in record numbers. And I think this is really feeling the crunch. Now, the unique thing about where we're at in Northern Virginia is this area is fairly resistant to recession just because of the type of work that's out here. The government work is a little bit more recession resistant. So we're seeing this as a problem here in Northern Virginia. Yeah. I have to imagine in other states and other areas, this must be just even worse than it is here.
Yeah, so a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about are obviously Virginia focused, but if you live outside of the Virginia area, I would definitely recommend checking in with your local like ag extensions and so forth and other rescues in your area to find out what programs are available to you through other states. In Virginia, our rescue and a lot of the rescues in our area are part of a partnership. And we're part of the United Horse Coalition, and we're also part of the Virginia Partnership for Horses. And what that is it's two organizations that bring rescues together in order to give us better resources and to help rescues help each other, essentially. This is not something that can be done in a vacuum. Horse rescue is, it's a very, very tough thing to get into. Not only is it very physically demanding, it's costly, it's expensive, and it's emotionally draining. Most people burn out in this within 5 years because it does take a real emotional toll because you're 24/7, 365 days a year. And if you're a small rescue like that, like we are, 95% of the work falls on us. So that takes a toll. So the partnerships and coalitions help rescues come together in order to help all of us. It's a way for us to network, and it's a way for us to do things. But one of the other things that these organizations do is they come together and they create safety net programs. So for owners that maybe find themselves in a situation where they are financially strapped, or that they need assistance, one of the things that we always say is that they should go to the Virginia Partnership for Horses and go to their resources page and go to the safety net programs. So under their safety net programs, let me just read you some of the things that they have. So under their safety net programs, they have a feed and hay safety net program. They have castration vet funds available. They have euthanasia vet funds available. And they have one-time emergency vet care and disaster relief funds. So those are just some of the things that owners can get assistance with if they find themselves in a difficult situation. So definitely recommend that if you're a horse owner, get on these websites, look under their safety net programs, find out the information beforehand so that if something does happen, you already know what to do and maybe have already filled the paperwork out.
Yeah, and one of the things that we wanted to point out with these safety net programs is we were in this for what, a decade before we even learned that some of these things were available. And it was through actually attending some of these meetings and linking up with some of these other groups. I remember we were sitting in a meeting with a bunch of other rescues, and they start talking about these resources that are available: short-term hay assistance and vet care and castration assistance. And I remember we looked at each other like, holy crap, where's this been the entire time? And the fact of the matter is these have been available for quite a while. They're just not as well publicized, and that's one of the things that we have kind of taken on and working with the partnership to advertise. If you're facing an owner surrender through a very temporary or short-term financial crisis or something like that, there are resources that may be able to keep your horse with you, so that you don't have to give them up. And those are, we want to promote those. If we can keep your horse out of a rescue, not only is it helping you, but it's helping rescues be able to take in the most dire needs and the most dire cases, right? Without horses that are kind of in a temporary bad spot ending up in an even worse bad spot.
Yeah, I mean, we understand the love that owners have for their horses, and obviously we want to help owners as much as possible. So programs like this really can help owners keep their horses. And so we encourage people to go to those websites. We will put the websites and links into our video so that you can reach out to them. So aside from doing that, one of the other things that we have to talk about with owners that are looking to possibly surrender their horses is, making sure that you ask the hard questions. And the hard questions is, should you possibly consider euthanasia versus putting them into a rescue? Rescues have very small amounts of budgets and our funds are tight. And if you have a 30-year-old horse that has massive amounts of health problems, is maybe not doing as well, in a lot of cases, we have to have those hard conversations with owners about considering euthanasia. And I know that's not a topic anyone likes to face.
Yeah.
But it is something that we do have to talk to owners about, and things that we have to face as a rescue all the time. And it's not a pleasant conversation. We've had to euthanize several horses in our rescue. It's never an easy decision to make. It's painful, it's emotional, but we understand that in the end, I guess we want to try to give the horse the peace before they're in pain. And if you're looking at a horse that's aged and has so many health problems, sometimes those decisions have to be made. So before you consider, asking a rescue to take in an owner surrender, consider looking at your horse's situation and really evaluating what might be best for them.
Yeah, I mean, we've had that happen a couple of times where we've had that conversation with horse owners that are surrendering a 30-plus-year-old horse that is in pretty poor health very clearly at the end of their life. And, unfortunately, as a rescue, we do sometimes get left holding that bag the owner can't bring themselves to do it. And so we end up, taking them on and doing what we feel is the most humane thing for the animal. Obviously with the consultation of a vet and, making sure that it is absolutely the right thing to do.
Yes.
So, we have that conversation because while it is hard, it's hard on us having to do it all the time. And so we often advise folks, if that is the right course of action, to do that while they still have the animal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you and I recently had this happen a couple of years ago. We had an owner surrender of 2 mares that came to us. One was a 34-year-old Tennessee Walker, and the other one was a 20 plus something paint mare that we had mentioned before. Her name was Ellie. The owner, these horses were very much loved. They were well taken care of. And her husband had made her a promise that he would keep the horses with her until she passed away. And true to his word, he had hospice care in their home, on their farm. And she was able to look out and look at the horses until her last day, which, that's incredible that he was able to give her that gift to keep her at home and so that she could see her horses up to her last day. And when she passed, he reached out to us to take the horses. And, at 34 years of age, the one horse, Lady was her name, she had Lyme disease. She was, very aged. And although she didn't really have a lot of health issues, our concern taking her in was she had only been on that farm for the past 25 years. She didn't know any other farm. She didn't know any other facility. We were concerned that the move might be too much for her at her age. And this particular gentleman basically said, look, I just can't make that decision. I ask that you do that for me. So we did. We took Ellie and Lady in, and we ended up having about 8 months with Lady. Mm-hmm. And at 8 months, she did bounce back. She did make the move okay. We did have to do a lot of treatment for Lyme disease with her. And, but all in all, I mean, we thought that, she was doing well, but then suddenly one day she just started laboring, breathing. And we had the vet come out, and the vet basically said that her kidneys were shutting down, that she was just slowly shutting down. So we made the decision on a good day, that we would have the vet come out and humanely euthanize her. She'd become a favorite of our volunteers, and it was an emotional day. The volunteers came out and all said goodbye to her. And since Ellie was her bonded friend, we allowed Ellie to say goodbye to her, and then we made the decision to euthanize her. And again, not an easy decision. It was a very rough day that day for us, because these decisions are definitely not easy to make. But if you find yourself in that position with these aged horses, just, take the time to ask yourself that question about what's in the horse's best interest, and whether you really want to transfer that responsibility over to the rescue to do.
Yeah, and speaking of that story, you bring up a really excellent case of an owner surrender that I think was done really well. Can you talk a little bit about how he surrendered and the provisions that he made for us to help?
Yeah, so one of the things that this gentleman did, and this is not always the case, if owner surrenders are surrendering their horses due to financial constraints, obviously doing something like this gentleman did would not be possible. But if you're owner surrendering and you're in a position, rescues definitely some rescues are starting to ask for this up front, or they just, try to encourage people to do this. But one of the things that he did with us is he turned over all of their tack, their saddles and equipment to us in order to allow us to possibly sell those to help make money for our rescue. And then he also made a rather large financial donation to us in order to help offset any expenses for those horses. So that was a huge help for us, especially since Lady ended up requiring a lot of medical intervention to treat her Lyme disease. The pills alone were so expensive. But him doing that allowed us to take those two horses in and give them the best possible care, and to get the medication that Lady needed. And the tack we were able to sell and help raise funds for the rescue. So if you are owner surrendering and you are in a position, these are some of the things that can kind of help rescues, is if you can, like donate your tack or make some sort of contribution, a surrender fee or a contribution to help offset the expenses. That always helps rescues continue to do what we're doing. Because, as we said, there's so many owner surrenders right now that a lot of us are just over capacity and really struggling financially to make sure that all of the horses in our care are taken care of.
Yeah, and actually we were literally just today working through a potential owner surrender to us, but crisis averted.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best case scenario. So again, working within our partnership that we work within, I was able to reach out to another horse rescue sanctuary and told them the situation. We have two aged horses. One is mid-20s, the other one is late 20s, bonded pair. And the woman, due to unforeseen circumstances, needed to rehome her horses. And we were having a tough time finding a place for the two older horses, because most sanctuaries like us, we have some sanctuary horses and some rescue horses. We are at capacity right now for sanctuary. So we weren't able to take in the sanctuary. And we were going to take in a younger 5-year-old horse that she had. So I had been making phone calls and calling around and, emails and phone calls for weeks now. And thankfully, through another organization, we were able to work with them and get them to agree to take in these other two horses. So that is best case scenario. It is hopefully, we're still negotiating everything and trying to get everything processed. So we're still working through that. But again, that shows the collaboration between partnerships that we work with within this organization that we're in. And the 5-year-old that we were willing to take in, luckily, a woman has stepped up that is a trainer and horse. She owns a boarding facility and a training facility. She is actually going to take that 5-year-old in, and she is going to lease that horse from the owner. So best case scenario. But that is all through just networking and making phone calls and doing everything we can to help these owners in the best case that we can.
Yeah, and that really was the best case scenario for her 3 horses. Everybody's ending up where they belong. We were willing to take those 3 horses on to try and find the best possible scenario. And again, through Wendy's hard work and determination and personal networking, we were able to make that happen. The owner feels great about the situation. Yeah. We're not taking on additional animals that really don't need to be here. So that really is a great outcome, and we love seeing that. As much as we love the horses, we love what we do. Our goal is for really these horses to find the best possible home, and typically that shouldn't be with us. It should be with somebody else where possible.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as a rescue, our goal is to place horses with loving homes and hopefully forever homes, and that's what we strive to do. So the things, just to kind of recap, some of the things we've talked about is owner surrender, making sure that that if you're going to owner surrender, first look at safety net programs that are available in your area that might be able to help you. 2, if you are going to owner surrender, reach out to rescues in your area. Go talk to them, visit them, make sure that they're the right organization for what you want for your horses. And then the other thing is I think one of the last things to talk about is make sure that you've pre-planned this. And
Yeah.
again, not everyone likes to talk about this, but you should have, if you have horses or any animal for that matter, you should have a section in your will that specifically relates to the care of your animals upon your death. And a lot of people just don't think about this. And it is so, so important. Case in point, our beautiful Frisian mare, Kaya. Kaya was with an owner who, oddly enough, made provisions for the Arabians that she owned that were in California, but she did not make provisions for the Frisians in her care that were located here in Virginia. And unfortunately, she left the Frisians to her boyfriend, and he did not think that they were his responsibilities, and he literally just drove off of the ranch one day and left the Frisians to fend for themselves. And because there was no specific outline in her will about who should take on the responsibility of the Frisians, they fell under just general property. And that's how the boyfriend kind of ended up with these general property, because they were on the property. But you know, this is why it's so important to make sure that if you own animals, horses or anything else, that you have provisions in your will in order to state what you want to happen with these animals. So many family members we see all the time reach out to us about, my grandmother passed away or my mom passed away and these were her beloved horses, and I don't know anything about horses, so what do I do?
Yeah, and I think this is more important with livestock animals and horses. It is way easier to place a poodle in somebody's house, or a puppy dog or a kitty cat or something like that. Horses can't just go anywhere.
Yeah.
And they require a lot of money to care for. They require special facilities. You got to have land and know-how. So it really is incredibly responsible to think about this ahead of time. If you have horses, to understand, I mean, it's probably right up there. It's up there with your children, on who's going to take care of your kids if you pass away, if you and your spouse pass away. So we cannot stress this enough, that you can do that. And then the other piece of that in your estate planning is also, you can also leave part of your estate to a rescue. If you are inclined to support animal rescues, if you are somebody who really likes the work that a rescue does, we love to see people that think ahead like that and leave a piece of their legacy to do good work in something that they really believe in or really supported while they were alive.
Yeah, or even just the support of their own horses. They can leave a portion of their financial assets to care for their horses that goes into these facilities. So these are all things, though, that have to be pre-planned.
Yeah.
And you can go to our website. You can also go to the websites of our partnerships that we had discussed earlier. And all of this is in there for resources on how to craft your wills in order to do this. And we always recommend that go talk to rescues ahead of time. Make sure that whatever provisions you have in place, that you specifically say, like, I specifically want my horses to go to Freedom and Whiskey Equine Rescue. I have already spoken to the rescue. They know that this time is coming. We've agreed ahead of time that we will take these horses on, and we make those arrangements ahead of time. That is the best case for everybody.
Yeah.
Because one, we will plan for it. Two, the owner knows that their animal is going to be taken care of upon their death. And again, in their will, they can also make provisions to give like a monthly stipend from their estate that will help take care of those horses, which of course helps offset expenses for us.
Yeah.
So it really kind of comes down to, I mean, as rescues, we understand that the economy is tough right now. We understand that a lot of people are dealing with financial issues. And as rescues, we're doing everything we can to help owners right now. So if you have concerns or or even you just need somebody to kind of talk through this with you, we're always available to have those conversations with you. Again, our goal is one, keep the horse with you if possible, and two, if it's not possible, help find the best case scenario for you and your horse.
Absolutely. So as much as it's an uncomfortable conversation, we cannot stress enough how important it is that you think about these things, that you plan for them, because they happen, and they tend to happen at the most inconvenient times. So, if you can make those plans, it's just one thing off of your mind, and a bit of peace of mind for how things will be taken care of, after your passing or your family member's passing. So as uncomfortable as that is, nobody likes to do it, but we are here for you if you need that support and need somebody to talk to about how to handle those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And we loved our time that we had with Ellie and Lady. They ended up being wonderful residents here. And they both now have passed away. But we had a lot of good years with Ellie, a shorter time with Lady. But we greatly appreciate the care that their former owners did, and giving us the opportunity to share part of those horses' life and their legacy. And we still think about them all the time. And now, through another owner surrender, we have Kaya, who is still available for adoption. And she would make, just an excellent partner for somebody. And again, she came to us out of odd circumstances, in the sense that she was an owner surrender through legal or law enforcement seizure. But they come to us in many different ways. But definitely pre-plan as much as possible. And if you have any questions, reach out.
All right. Well, now that we're through the dark part of the the episode, we just want to thank everybody for sticking with us. All the great comments that we got on the first 3 videos. This is number 4. We're having a lot of fun doing these, and really love to see everybody cheering us on and supporting us. So if you have not done so already, please like and subscribe. These videos are here on YouTube. You can find clips on all of our other social media. But that support helps get our name out there, helps more people find out about us, and that really helps us further our mission. So
yeah, and if there's a topic that you'd like to see us cover, please put it in the comments.
Absolutely. All right. Well, cheers to a successful 4th episode, and you guys stay cool.